Hello everyone, welcome to Fiaura. If you missed the live stream last night, well, I do have a highlight from it. We are going to be looking at the Warspite. Now this is still pre-patch 1.4.1.0. So the Battleship guns are still relatively inaccurate. And the Warspite, she is slow. However, I was also on with Tanking for the Memories, whose YouTube channel is linked in the cards above if you want to check him out. We are going to go heading to the west, at least to start with my big mighty I think these are 15-inch guns or 60. They're big guns. I don't really like playing battleships in World of Warships because I constantly find that if you're a streamer playing a battleship, you get focused out, and since you're in a battleship, you can't relocate, you can't run away, and you can't outmaneuver it. So what ends up happening, it happened a couple times on the stream. I had torpedoes from destroyers and carriers all at once coming at my ship, and I had no way of getting out of the way. So I don't really like playing battleships on World of Warships because I know that I'm going to get focused, and it's much easier to play a destroyer and them try to focus your destroyer when you can just go bah and be gone than it is for you to play a battleship. And if you're spotted, which is a lot of the time, yeah. Now I'm about to do a trick. A lot of people don't realize this is a trick you can do, which you extend the range whenever you use your aircraft. And because I extended my range, Memories over here is going to follow suit very shortly to use his scout to extend the range. But as soon as that Murmansk pops back up, I'm going to unload in his general direction. Hello. And now I'm going to bring my rear battery up. And my other rear battery will eventually get in there. Yep, here it comes around. Now there's my first shots. So it's really hard to lead at this kind of range because I'm shooting at him. He's 20 kilometers away. I think he's 18.8 kilometers away right now. And I don't think I got any hits out of all that. But this New York, full power of a broadside might do it. Might do it. Hey, I got a hit. Again, this is extreme range gunnery with a battleship. Getting a hit is painful. And now my scouts return, so suddenly I'm out of range. However, that little Clemson destroyer in there has launched torpedoes at us, and he's out of torpedo range, so it's pretty much pointless. I don't even need to dodge those. One, they're not going to hit me even if I, was worried about them. But two, they're out of range. American torpedoes are short range, really short range, like knife fights. But in the meantime, let's bring this big beast to bear at the New York. Alright. Clemson, I'm tired of your bullshit. I don't have any shots. For now, I don't have any shots. Hi there, Nicholas. Well, only half of volley's going at you, and none of them hit you, and they're armor-piercing rounds. Because I was loaded for the battleship, and there's a destroyer. And there's the torpedoes. Right on cue. However, I'm going to be reloaded in 2 seconds. And this time it ain't going to be no half volley. I'm focusing on avoiding his torpedoes first. Once I know I've avoided them, then I worry about firing my shots. And it turns out I didn't even need to worry about them. I hit with armor piercing for 1100. Do you really want to stick around? And he's launched, he keeps driving by and launching. He's hoping to get a torpedo hit. And no. Alright, I see these two. Look at the map. Now that I'm going to enlarge it. When I play, I shrink it down because there's the settings. Either that big, or that big. There's no, like... There needs to be, like, something between that and that. There needs to be something between those two, Wargaming. Just saying, because that's too big, and the other one's too small. But I've turned around, and I'm breaking off from Mammaries, who's going to have to fight a New Mexico, a New York, a Murmansk, and a destroyer with just the New Mexico next to him, because there's two Clevelands trying to pull a fast one, and the only thing between our base and them is a Murmansk, and they will shred him if he doesn't have any support. So what am I going to do? I'm going to provide some support. They don't know I've turned around. They're not even paying attention to the fact that I'm here. They're not going to change course. Here's exactly what happens when you don't change course and there's a Warspite firing at you. First volley in. He's at 10,000. Okay, that wasn't very spectacular. Can we bring the other guns to bear? We can and shall. I level out the rudder to try to get the guns, and there goes the rear turrets. And here it comes. Here it comes. Sunk. You two cruisers thought you were going to be sneaky. Warspite goes, Now, it is a bit hard to lead whenever you're trying to shoot through, the smoke of a smoldering wreck like that. But my rear turrets are coming up. Oh, come on. 15-inch guns doing 1,000. 1,040 seems like the minimum damage for my armor-piercing rounds. Ooh, there's a good smash hit, and he burns to death. You're welcome, Murmansk. I just saved your ass. Now I'm turning around to go try to save Mammary's ass, who has managed, with the help of his New Mexico friend, to hold off 2 battleships, a cruiser, and a destroyer. I think they even, the New Mexico even killed one of them. But as with all things with a battleship, nothing happens quickly. And I'm coming to bear on the course I want, but it's still going to take me a while to get there as I slam the accelerator and I'm like, nope, full throttle. We're going as fast as we can. All steam ahead. Now, as soon as I can get a spotter plane up, or I get within, I'm either going to get within range or I'm going to have to launch my spotter plane so I can be shooting at this New Mexico and hope I can help Mammaries out. And there it is. There's the range. Alright. 17 kilometers. He's in range. Fire. Okay, swing. Swing so we can bring the rear batteries to bear. He's repairing himself. And, forward batteries, you just whiffed it. Completely whiffed the forward batteries there. What do the rear batteries have to say about this? A bounce hit. But thankfully he sails in a straight line for our dive bombing friends. And just gets wrecked by dive bombers. And here comes my next 2 hits. Oh, there we go. We got some damage from that 1 hit. And he's going down. He's on fire. He's flooding. I go ahead and fire at him just in case he manages to survive long enough for the shells to get there. But I don't need to because Memories takes him out. Kasky Actual is Memories, by the way. And then I go, well, look, I have a spotter plane. You're in range, Murmansk. Wait a second. There's a destroyer near me that my scout is located. Switch to high explosive. Hey, Mr. Nicholas, you got about 20 seconds. I suggest you make the most of it because a near miss will blow you out of the water. My scout plane, of course, gets, attacked and shot down. No, it's still up. Okay. He launches hopeless torpedo shots at me, and I know they're hopeless. He's only got a 5-kilometer torpedo range. I fire a full volley of 8 15-inch guns. Poof! Goes the destroyer. 2 high explosive rounds, direct hit. He's gone. I'm reloading more high explosive. I didn't have it selected to switch it back to armor piercing for the Murmansk. So I figure, you know what? Let's just let him have the HE. Besides, this guy's trying to dodge, and he's trying to chase Memories down. Which I'm desperately hoping that I can sink him before he sinks Memories. Ooh. Big high explosive hit to the front of his ship. 4 incapacitations. I must have knocked out a bunch of turrets. And you can tell I've knocked out a bunch of turrets because he's not firing right now. That was a beautiful... And then he brings the other turrets that are working around and continues to fire at Memories. I let him have another HE volley, and now I'm switching to armor piercing. As I purposefully, by the way, kept sailing towards him because the Warspite has an impressive secondary battery with an impressive battery range. Sadly, he does bring Memories down. I think he died to fire. But are the torpedoes going to get him, or am I going to get him? He's successfully dodged the carrier torpedoes, but he's not about to dodge all that. Citadel penetration. He only had 3,000 hit points left. 8,000 damage. Ow. The Warspite has successfully killed her prey. Now I wish... Remember that, oh, that Murmansk I saved earlier is already dead. So that there's a cruiser left, and I wish he would turn and go after the enemy carrier. He's trying to challenge the New York. I should be challenging the New York because so far, despite having received a couple hits, I've taken no damage at all. My Warspite's... this is what happens when you leave a Warspite untouched. It destroys your team. And now I'm sailing to try to get to the New York. But right now I'm also having to worry about these torpedo bombers. So I've cut speed and started to dodge, and then the torpedo bombers are moving away from me, and I go, oh, great. I really wish the Aboa had turned and gone after the carrier instead of trying to get into a knife fight with the New York. Because I'm in a full health Warspite. That New York's probably taking some damage even before I get there. I could probably take it out. But no, he goes after the New York and pays for it. Dive bombers come, try to slow me down, set me on fire. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll fix that. And this carrier, I mean, he's putting up a fight. He's trying to take me down. Warspite does have a very impressive AA. Oh, I slow down and only take one right into the torpedo belt. Total damage 4,000 some change. Gotta love those big thick torpedo belts, don't you? And his aircraft are not returning home unscathed. And there's the New York, spotted by our friendly fighters at 3,500. And we're telling the carrier, go sink their carrier. Guys, pay attention to the chat. Somebody might be telling you vital information. If he were to send his dive bombers at that carrier and set it on fire, the guy would put out the fire, and then his torpedo bombers could come in behind him, and if 3 of the torpedoes hit, which is pretty easy to do, especially on a slow-moving carrier, that carrier would die from flooding. No questions asked. He turns his dive bombers at the New York. I tell him, ignore the battleship. I got him. I'm loading high explosive. This way, this way there's no chance that I'm going to bounce. He's only got 3,000 hit points. I need to hit him with maximum 4 shells, and he will die from the high explosive fire. This way I don't, hit him with like 4 armor-piercing shells and they bounce. We only have 2.5 minutes, which is not enough time for this carrier to return his planes if they fire. And he closes in and drops the dive bomb on the New York. Not only that, he's getting his plane shot by the New York, which means that it's shooting down planes, which means less bombs and less torpedoes. And I want to show you this. His dive bombs did a total of 1,300. That's it. I can't catch that carrier. I'm in a Warspite. My top speed's 23.8 kilometers. If I had the engine modification, I could get a top speed of 25. And I'm arcing the shells over the island at the New York, who can't see me, by the way. He doesn't even know where I am. He's just getting shelled by me. There you go. High explosive shells, done. Now the carrier does divert his torpedo bombers at the enemy carrier. And if all 5 torpedoes, or however many torpedoes, if the entire squadron had hit, he would sink that carrier. Entire squadron doesn't hit. We have 1 minute and 15 seconds. His dive bombers are not going to make that trip back. I'm not going to get into the cap circle in time. We all know how this song and dance ends. It ends in a draw, which is sad. And again, we would have had a very good chance of winning if he had just looked at the chat, realized what we were all talking about, and sent his dive bombers at the carrier. Sadly, it's not going to happen for us. And of course, this carrier is going to try his damnedest to do as much damage to me, if not sink me, as he can. Now I slow down to just less than half speed, then hit the speed back up, and as soon as the rudder's turned, I've hit the speed back up, and whoop-de-doo. 2 torpedo hits, do 20,000 damage, and then I'm going to repair some of it. Game. If that guy had just listened. If that guy had just listened. How did the game turn out? Well, I shot down 4 aircraft. I got 24 hits. I killed 4 enemy ships. I got a citadel penetration, and I incapacitated 8 different things. 249,000 credit draw. I imagine a win would put this over 400,000 credits. Came in 2nd place on the team. The Aboa. If you'd just gone after the carrier and let me deal with the New York. Total damage. I didn't do a lot of damage. What I did was I primarily just finished ships off, which is satisfying, granted, but it's still kind of bad on my part to not have done very much damage. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hope you've enjoyed the Warspite. Is it worth it? If you like battleships, the Warspite is your best bet for a ship, period. I really think that. But in the meantime, why don't you guys check out these other videos? Take a look at the patronage page too. I would really appreciate it if you would go take a look at the patronage page. And again, that tells me that I'm doing a really good job, is if you guys put something on the patronage page. And it's the only reason I'm able to keep this channel still running, is because without your patronage I wouldn't be able to buy the new monitor when I got back, because the old one broke. Anyway, thanks guys, and I will put up the live streams for the coming week today. So go check out the channel page and see the coming live streams. But in the meantime, this is Fiaura officially signing out for right now, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye. In other more interesting news, yesterday was also extremely rough because it's the first day in over a month in which the channel has not gained any subscribers. So yeah, well, I say not gained. I mean, the net value was 0. Didn't gain anything, didn't lose anything. One of my purposes for growing this channel is for active power. It has 2 St. Louis's shooting at any one target. That's a dead boat. Sorry, it's a dead boat. And I mean, it is a dead boat. So we are going to come up here and come around this bend way over on the Alpha 2, or the 1-2 line.